Trump!
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell. This week I'm joined by a very special literary critic, one Nick Prol.
How you doing, Hyle?
Hi. Nick, if you don't recall, is a staff member on DK Vine. He is largely responsible for DKU Comics.
Yeah, literature.
Literature, yes. Literature, and also you're writing about these characters. You're essentially writing a form of fan fiction, which is why I thought it would be appropriate to have you on the Kongversation this week. Because we are going to be analyzing, I guess you could say, a piece of Donkey Kong Universe. I would call it fan fiction, but actually this is a professional work that one can buy on Amazon.com. So therefore, it is a piece
straight up fiction.
It's a piece of substantial literature. So we'll get into that. I do want to warn people up front that this show is going to be a little bit more blue than normal. And I know the Kongversation is a family podcast. I know Mom, Pa, and the little ones all like to gather around the fire come Saturday night and listen to the show. But I would recommend against that this week. So send the little ones to bed. Maybe make a nice romantic bubble bath. Get some Bartlett and James wine coolers and prepare.
Light some candles.
Yes, and prepare for the most erotic episode of the Kongversation we've ever performed.
That's probably right. I'd have to go back and listen, but you're probably right.
Yeah, no, I am certain this episode is going to get lots of people pregnant, and for that I apologize, but at least we're spreading the love and spreading other things. So anyway, before we get into, oh good lord, this is going to be a train wreck of a show, I can feel it. Before we get into it, we better do some due diligence before people never listen to the show again. So support DK Vine on Patreon. I don't know why you would after this episode that's about to hit you across the face like something wet. But nonetheless, back us, dkvine.com/Patreon. Normally we do this show live. Next couple weeks are going to be a little bit hairy because I'm getting married and
that
the schedule is going to be a little bit weird. But we are planning on doing my bachelor party episode. We're going to be recording that August 19th.
Wait, so are all these episodes we're doing like themed after the Brothers Bear? Because we're doing a blue one today, then we're doing a bachelor one later.
That's right. And then I'm going to get barnacles. I am going to join ABBA with Benny and Bjorn. We've got a whole, the whole autumn lineup, the Kongversation will just be Brothers Bear themed leading up to the 20th anniversary of Donkey Kong Country 3.
Mamma mia.
That's Super Mario 64. We're coming up on that anniversary next month.
Oh, can't wait.
Well, I guess the Western anniversary. It already came out in Japan, but we are Western centric here on DK Vine. We're like the Republican Party, aren't we?
In more ways than one, yeah.
In more ways than one. Well, there were a bunch of white guys. Yeah, I guess there's that too. So anyway, dkvine.com/Patreon. You can listen to the show live. And like I said, August 19th, my bachelor party. You're all invited.
Be there.
We're going to be live streaming it. I think the episode's going to come officially for the public the week I'm on my honeymoon, though. So that will cover for us. We can never miss a week, really, during a season of the Kongversation. And we also have other rewards. Chad would want me to tell you about the Minecraft server. For $2, you can get on the Minecraft server and build a whole Donkey Kong Universe-themed civilization with him and some other DK Vine stalwarts like Cameron Regal and Jeff Onan.
Well, see, that's why I said we're like the Republican Party in more ways than one. Look at all the people on that server. They're just building a wall,
I forgot how quick you are, Nick. You're quick with the wit. We've also got stickers at the $1 tier. At the very least, you give us $1 a month, you're going to get fucking stickers. And after this episode, maybe people will be requesting stickers that depict the act of fucking, because there's going to be some hearts and minds won over with this one. There's going to be...
This one might be so popular we'll have to start a whole separate podcast, you know?
Yeah, the Kongversation After Hours.
Yeah.
Or the
That sounds good.
Congalingus. That's what we'll call it.
Okay.
So anyway, we got that. We got so much else on the Patreon. So much else you wouldn't believe. Talking like Trump now. You're going to get sick of winning by backing us on Patreon. We use all the best words.
And if you don't like it, well, that's just how it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. But maybe the Mario Wiki people, maybe there's something they could do about it. I don't know.
Maybe there's something we can do about them. If not us, maybe the Second Amendment people.
Yeah, I mean, Obama founded Mario Wiki. So.
That is true. He was won over with the Milli Vanilli episode of the Super Mario, or the New Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3. Yeah, I almost said the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and I know the fact checkers out there
Can't get that wrong.
in the liberal media would be all over me. So anyway, dkvine.com/Patreon. Back this mess, won't you?
Do it.
Also, check out the DK Vine forum, which I blame for this episode. They are directly responsible. More on that when we explain the premise. It is the greatest collective of like-minded weirdos you'll ever find. If you like Donkey Kong, if you like Rare, if you like Platonic, if you like debating endlessly about Platonic's characters, such as Inept the Robot, then you'll want... No, really? Oh, you must have missed last week. So anyway, the DK Vine forum, it is a great collective. It is a commune for those who don't feel like they fit in because you'd rather discuss obscure Conker's Pocket Tales bosses versus talking about Pokemon Go. If that's the case, then you've found your family. dkvine.com/forum. Meanwhile, back on the conversation, subscribe to us on iTunes. Please rate us on iTunes because for some reason that matters. I don't really understand. It's what Steve Jobs set up before he died. So he likes to rate people and judge them, and then you increase in the iTunes rankings that way, and more people can find the show. So please check us out on iTunes. We're also on Stitcher. We're on SoundCloud, and of course we're on YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube. We've got a lot of great YouTube content in the works right now, including the final part of the DK Vine Hall of Fame class of 2016.
I can't wait to see that, honestly.
Yeah, the anticipation is getting to the point where people are just annoyed at how long it's taking. But we're putting a lot of care and love into this final installment.
We're providing great content in the meantime, like this episode.
Like this episode, yes. Seriously, we also have stuff from E3 still getting on our YouTube channel, like an exclusive song you've never heard from Sea of Thieves. That is a song performed by the pirate band Rare Hired at not only E3 but Comic-Con this year. And Rare and Robin Beanland sent them 3 songs from Sea of Thieves to learn. The first 2 are well known by now. The third is an instrumental that's never been heard, but we got it on our YouTube channel.
That sounds like a shanty people shan't want to miss.
Right.
I'll show myself out.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do this solo, baby. I'm used to doing a lot of the acts featured in this episode solo.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. So anyway, dkvine.com/YouTube. Finally, follow us on social media. We've made a mess over social media. We're on Facebook. I'm in charge of that. We're on Twitter. That's Chad. Over on Tumblr, we got Cameron.
And I've got Grindr covered.
Actually, shouldn't that be Vinder? Which is, I believe, a Joe Mudd joke. So I'm just borrowing that. But yeah, Vinder.
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, he made an image of Frankie from off of Conker's Bad Fur Day. I'm so used to saying Conker's Pocket Tales at this point. It's conditioning.
Second nature.
Yeah, Frankie from off of Conker's Bad Fur Day. He did a Vinder profile for him, and it warned that you will get splinters.
That makes sense.
That does make sense. I guess you would have to use a copious amount of lubricant to avoid that. I told you, people, take the kids to bed because this episode is going to be very adult in nature. The only other time we've had to give any warnings is when Scraps gets hosted. Scraps 69. So.
Although there were a few episodes you probably should have had warnings on.
No. I review all of the content with a large conservative panel of religious leaders, of Fox News host.
So I guess they missed the Banjo-Kazooie Spotlight episode then.
I'm sure. No, I don't know. I mean, but I ran this past Fox News, Nick, and we know they're the paradigm of virtue.
Well, yeah.
Roger Ailes personally said there is nothing offensive about these episodes.
Yeah, I have a Glenn Beck moral compass I keep in my pocket all times.
Yeah, but you see Roger Ailes, he sexually harassed his female staff.
Oh, yeah.
So
he would love this thing we're talking about.
Well, I think everything is mostly consensual in this episode. So thankfully, besides the ape raper at the top of the show, he's never consensual. So let's talk, Nick.
Okay. I honestly don't know what I'm in for, but let's do this.
Oh, you know. So the other month on the DK Vine forum, earlier in the summer, a longtime DK Vine forum member who has the rank of video game hero on the DK Vine forum, so you know it's a long-termer.
He's a veteran.
XD375.
XD.
Yeah, the one with the carbine owl neon avatar. If you need the neon avatars to picture people, posted on the forum and alerted us to a new book that had come out exclusively for the Kindle, and it's I don't know. The roommate showed them that it was a thing that existed called Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody.
I just spit out all the water in my mouth.
Was that water in your mouth?
Oh, we're getting started.
Spitters or quitters, my friend. So anyway.
Squitter. Sorry, I had to throw in a DK reference.
So for those of you who aren't aware of the publishing world, this is something that's really cropped up with the advent of e-readers and tablets. It basically...
E-readers, like those cards that I used to put in my GBA?
Oh, man. I wish Rare had gotten in on that with THQ and released erotic e-reader cards for all of their IPs.
Probably would melt the Game Boy Advance. It'd be so hot.
By the way, they're reviving the THQ brand. I just saw that today.
Ooh,
yeah,
priceless.
THQ went belly up some time ago, but they're back. It's not exactly the same company. They've just revived the name for a new company. But yeah,
what's THQ even stand for? The headquarters or something?
I guess it does. Yeah, I never really thought about it. I just know them as the ones who completely fucked up the release of Rare's 4 Game Boy Advance games that weren't Donkey Kong ports.
Maybe in that case it stands for Terrible, Horrible Quagmire.
Quagmire, yeah. There you go. You're quick with the words there today, Nick.
Like Rodney the Hare.
Oh, I'm enjoying this. So, anyway, yeah. Well, basically, authors can submit anything they want to stores like Kindle and Nook and other e-reading conglomerates, and they can do these short little novellas that only cost a couple bucks a pop, and by and large, they're tawdry erotica, and not just erotica, not just like smutty romance novels like the kind that were very popular in the 90s, like Fabio modeled for, the covers, like where women would be swept away by Vikings or sultans or cowboys or,
like fantasy, female fantasy.
Right. Nothing like that. These are specifically targeted for all of the niche fetishes and just weirdest desires people might have. There's all this fetish porn online. This is
ticklers and diaper freaks.
Right. This is the literary equivalent of that. And people who for example, pony play. Do you know what pony play is, Nick?
Is it My Little Pony related?
No, it's actually not. It predates My Little Pony. It just makes
I'm already in.
Okay. Basically, there is a fetish for people who enjoy role-playing as ponies. And not only that, but they enjoy fiction where women and men become ponies, or rather, sometimes ponies transform into humans. And
I was way into that as a kid. It's called Animorphs.
Really? Was that real? Oh, was that what Animorphs was about at Scholastic? You dogs, or you ponies? So yeah, there's just like weird. I don't want to say weird. I don't want to judge. I'm not here to judge, Nick. I would never do that because, you know, to each their own. And we're a rapidly evolving progressive society where what's taboo one day is socially acceptable, and it should be socially acceptable the next. So my philosophy.
But Hyle, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I've heard the arguments, marrying turtles and whatnot. But hear me out, Nick.
All right.
My philosophy towards life is so long as you do nobody any harm or contribute to any harm being done, and you're spreading positivity, then, you know what? Who am I to judge?
Yeah, you're not God or Judge Dredd.
I might be God. I might be God descended to Earth, and I've forgotten. Maybe it's some sort of punishment by the other gods or other spiritual entities, and I'm here to learn a lesson and eventually reclaim my eternal throne. You know, maybe it's like the plot of Marvel's Thor. I don't really know what I'm doing here, Nick. I'm not saying I'm God. I'm just trying not to rule out any possibilities.
That sounds reasonable.
And my therapist agrees, or they would have agreed. I'm trying to find a therapist who will, but
one of these days.
Nonetheless, I'm not here to judge what people are into because that would be
do
wrong.
What you want, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever you like to float. So we're not here to laugh and scoff at anybody who would be into Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody. But as the guardians of the Donkey Kong universe, as the purveyors of long-forgotten relics of the 90s and beyond, I felt like it was our duty on the Kongversation to chronicle this landmark moment in our fandom where we finally have I'm going to say a professionally written erotica parody targeted right towards our fan base.
Yeah, we have to at least recognize its existence and chronicle its content.
Because, you know, this is the stuff you would see all the time with Super Mario. This is the stuff you see all the time with Pokemon, Zelda, you know.
Angry Beavers.
And yeah. I'm not just video games. Yeah, any wide variety of Nicktoons from the 1990s. It's rare that this kind of stuff trickles into our world. And I do mean trickle. It's not often. Now, granted, it would be far more shocking if this was a Conqueror's Pocket Tales or Grab by the Ghoulies erotica.
Oh, yeah. That I'd actually buy.
So Banjo-Kazooie is probably, you know, the second safest bet outside of Donkey Kong Country itself for erotic fan fiction. But I mean, there
are like homosexuals in the community that, you know, identify as bears, so kind of makes sense.
Actually, I don't think you're allowed to use the term homosexual anymore, Nick.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do I use?
Just gay.
Oh, there are gay. You can't say gays though, plural, right?
Gay men.
Gay men in the community. Wait, homosexual is a literal definition of what they are. That's offensive?
Unless you're using it in a clinical term, I think it's deemed offensive. I'm trying to be as...
Well, look, here I thought this was a total, you know, filler smut episode, and I learned something actually useful in my life.
Yeah, we're here to enlighten and maybe grow some hearts. Among other things. Things are going to grow regardless.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is a filler episode in that things will be filled upon the completion of listening to it. So anyway, according to DK Vine forum member XD375.
XD!
They did some research on this, and they discovered that their roommate's friend actually wrote this novella. And not only that, but... And I quote, "Anyway, my roommate just texted her friend that DK Vine podcast people want to do a dramatic reading, and she replied with something to the effect of, 'Zounds, I love DK Vine, please.'" So the author of this is familiar with DK Vine. And
wait, I missed something. Who wanted to do a dramatic reading?
People on the DK Vine forum wanted either the forum watch or the Kongversation itself to do a dramatic reading of this.
Oh, nice. So someone might actually enjoy this then, if that's what they want.
Yeah. But so XD375 found out that their roommate's friend wrote this, and it turns out that the author, one Juilliard Styles, is actually very familiar with DK Vine and has visited the site numerous times. So legally, I do not want to do a dramatic reading. We cannot just basically do an audiobook version of Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody. That would be that. I want people to give the author her well-deserved money.
Of course. This is more of a little teaser.
Yeah, exactly. So,
emphasis on tease.
Basically, we will be reading some passages, but we're mostly going to be doing a rough transcription of the story itself. Yeah, this is a quickie Banjo-Kazooie erotic parody that was written for Banjo-Kazooie fans who have always wanted to see the characters engage in some carnal activities. So what I thought we would do is go through it page by page and tell people the story, read some passages, and also share our critical analysis of it. Really get into, metaphors, the deeper literary meaning behind all of this.
Soliloquy.
Yeah. So sit back, get some brandy, get in a nice comfy chair in your reading room.
Get a cigar.
That's right. This is going to be a classy affair. So
we should have some Masterpiece Theater music playing in the background.
Very least, C-SPAN's book notes.
Oh, yes.
All right. So Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody by Juilliard Styles. First, let's talk about the cover, because the cover is a work of art in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, you could just frame that and hang it in a gallery and call it a day.
So from what it looks like, they used stock art for the depictions of a bear and a witch on the cover. All in front of it's some sort of like rainbow, ugly rainbow background that has the words parody stamped all over. Just
in case.
Just to get the lawyers off the backs, because Microsoft is paying attention. Microsoft is like, who's writing erotica parodies of our IPs? Phil Spencer. He's a cool guy, but how cool is he really? I mean,
exactly.
He's still got a business to run, and I'm not sure how comfortable he would be with this.
He's still the man.
But as the porn industry taught us, so long as you slap the word parody in front or behind of something, then apparently it's okay.
Of course.
So
now, you said there was a witch on the front. I would put a question mark at the end of that.
Yeah, because okay, so this is...
It looks like a stock photo of a girl in a witch costume, but the pointy top of the witch hat has been cropped off.
It's been cropped.
Kind of making her look like she's just a green cowgirl.
Well, and also, I don't think she was actually green in the... I haven't been able to trace this image, but I think that was just color corrected in Photoshop.
Gruntification.
Yeah. So I think this is just... like a slutty Halloween costume that was found in Google.
That's not politically correct.
Excuse me, a whorish Halloween costume.
There we go.
That was found in Google image search. They made her skin look almost radioactively green. Accidentally or maybe on purpose cropped the top of her witch hat off just so they get the logo Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody in there.
They could have put that over the hat.
We're
not criticizing here. We're not criticizing.
That's fine. Juilliard Styles is an artiste, but as an author, as a wordsmith.
Do you think Juilliard Styles is the brother of Julia Stiles?
Is it a man or a woman? I don't know what it...
It's a college.
Yeah, I know, Juilliard. Yeah, I know. I know. So I would expect lots of dancing in this, but I don't know if Juilliard is... Because I was thinking, I guess I was thinking it's Julia Stiles, so I thought it was a woman at first, but it might be a man. Who am I to define gender for people? I'm not here to be that person.
It's a slippery slope.
Slippery slope we're on. You got. It's like... It's a minefield these days, but I don't want to offend anybody. So
no. Now let's begin reading possibly the most offensive thing.
Well, I also want to point out that the bear, it's like it's a grizzly bear, which Banjo is not a grizzly bear.
No.
If he's a honey bear, which is actually a thing that exists in nature, they're sun bears. So it's a common mistake, though. I'll allow it, and I guess having the incorrect bear in there helps stave off Microsoft's legal team all the more. Yeah,
I see them looking at this and going, get the lawyers on the phone. Oh, wait, it's a grizzly bear. Put the phone down. It's all good.
I also like the little heart above the bear as it looks at the witch. So if that doesn't tell you where between which two characters most of the sexual action will be taking place, then that pretty much sums it up.
The front cover looks like a fever dream, a 90s fever dream.
Yeah, it looks like a GeoCities site from the 90s.
It does.
Just
the background looks like a screensaver.
Before everybody had Photoshop and they used just like these horrific like stock art, like clip art, and like it's. But we're not here for the cover, Nick.
No,
we're not
it's
here.
Serviceable. Does the job.
There's a lot, as we find out in the story. Gruntilda and Banjo are quite serviceable as well.
Let's dig in, shall we?
All right, so I am going to be reading the first paragraph.
All right. Story time. Let me get all tucked in here. Well, I don't want to get too tucked in.
You don't want to get too tucked in. That would be painful, Unzip a little bit. All right.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
Banjo sat alone in his house. His face was now starting to gray. He stared blankly into the middle distance, as he found himself doing far too often these days. It had been years since he had been with pretty much anyone. He had been cripplingly lonely since Kazooie died all those years ago. Kazooie, Bottles, Jolly Roger, all gone.
No.
He would never again feel the indiscernible sensation of feathers against his flesh. Banjo longed for companionship, any at all. Wow. Now, okay, first of all, it's very hard to say the word cripplingly.
Yes.
That's not a word that naturally flows off one's tongue. Second of all...
Well, it's because we're so PC, and cripple, is just not cool. So.
Yeah, handy-capable-linly would be... Yeah. But also, Jolly Roger... We got a Jolly Roger name drop in the first paragraph.
First page, and Kazooie's dead by the second sentence.
Kazooie, well, we know Kazooie's dead. Something has happened to Bottles and Jolly Roger. Maybe Banjo just drove them away. We don't know.
I feel like that's implying they're all dead.
Okay.
Maybe not. It could be either
Maybe
one.
That's the implication.
Yeah.
We'll have to take...
Because it says Kazooie died all those years ago, then it lists Kazooie again with the other names.
We might have to write a Banjo-Poonzooie erotica parody to really answer these questions that aren't answered in the story. Because
is this going to get its own page on the site?
let me set the record straight for all of you listening at home. This is not canon.
No.
All right.
And I should know a thing about what's not canon and what's filthy fan fiction trash.
That's right. Yeah. Although I'm hoping some sand eels appear in this, Nick. I'm hoping.
Oh, well,
can you imagine?
As a metaphor.
Could you imagine what the sand eels could do in this story?
Oh.
All right. Of course, you don't want the sand to get in those areas because that's just unpleasant. So I also want to point out that I think Juilliard Styles has been to DK Vine because the Jolly Roger mention is pretty significant. Either they've been to DK Vine or they're a hardcore Banjo-Pilot fan because Jolly Roger, he's a somewhat memorable part of Banjo-Tooie. And
he's in Nuts and Bolts,
and Nuts and Bolts, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not really the first character that would come to mind when listening to all the characters. So
no.
I like that level of weird fan service. I
mean, right off the bat, this could be a forum post.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very DK Vine.
I also like that Banjo has aged. Now, characters in Rare's games do age. There is a natural passage of time. We saw that with Nuts and Bolts. But this is Banjo...
Tiny Con.
This is Banjo a couple decades from now where he's old and gray. And or starting to gray. So middle-aged, And it gives me a lot of vibes similar to Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
Where, you've got the protagonist, his allies are dead, he's kind of retired and washed up, and something is going to bring him back into action. It's kind of deconstructing the whole concept of Banjo-Kazooie. And I really am tantalized by that already this
Banjo all alone.
One paragraph, and I'm already tantalized with where this is going to go and what this is going to say about the character of Banjo Bear.
Yeah, it's a real character study.
It really is. All right, so a knock comes at the door. Banjo's pretty excited because apparently nobody visits him anymore. and he's like the warp stone. Now nobody brings him gifts anymore. And so it says I want to point out this: he violently sprung from the chair. Violently. So I don't. Yeah, is there like some sort of self-abuse going on here where every time he gets up from a chair, he like, I don't know, punches himself in the face, or he whips himself like a self-flagellating, I don't know, monk from the Middle Ages? Like, what is this? I don't know. These are questions I want Juilliard Styles to answer. And Juilliard, I don't know if you're a man or a woman, and I'm sorry I called you a woman if you're a man, and I'm sorry I called you a man if you're a woman. All right, so anyway, Banjo's excited. His heart skips a beat, and at the door, it's Gruntilda, Nick. Gruntilda is at the door of Banjo's house.
Of all people.
Yeah, and she wants to come in. And you would think that this being Banjo's longtime nemesis, someone
he ain't letting her in.
Someone who's tried to kill him time and again. Mm-hmm. You know, well, yeah, no, shutting the door in her face, locking it. Granted, you know, Gruntilda can just destroy his house with a fireball, so wouldn't really do much good. You can't really keep Gruntilda out, so maybe that's why he's just resigned to it. This is a Banjo who has no more fucks left to give. No. Might as well let the witch come in, right?
He's a Banjo at the end of his rope.
It mentions it had been ages since he'd seen her alabaster visage.
Alabaster, does that mean green?
Yeah, this is, contrary to what the cover says, this is skeleton Gruntilda.
Oh. So that's what alabaster means. Wait, what does alabaster mean?
It's referring to the color, which would be white.
Ah, white.
White
so,
pale.
Yeah, this is skeleton. So that makes sense. Okay. So the cover. Well, I guess green Grunty is the most iconic, so they just went.
Yeah, the cover went. It's like what Banjo-Pilot did, and went with green Gruntilda. Continuity be damned. Yeah. But in the contents itself, it is actually skeleton Gruntilda, which I find that far less of a turn on. Because you would think if you wanted any Gruntilda in here, it would be the Gruntilda from the Game Over screen of Banjo-Kazooie, right?
Yes. Well, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, if that's what you're into. If maybe you're into, skeleton ladies need love too.
Maybe Banjo's a necrophile. He's a closeted, or should I say casketed necrophile.
That explained why he was so excited in Mad Monster Mansion.
Oh, he was very excited.
Yeah, he had to turn it.
Jumping like a pumpkin.
Yeah. All right, so Banjo offers Gruntilda some tea, being the gentleman that he is. And Gruntilda speaks in rhyme during this whole thing. So this is skeleton Grunty, but she's rhyming Grunty from like the first game. So she says, a cup of tea would be fine. Do you have any chai? Which, as far as Gruntilda rhymes go, it's pretty weak.
Yeah. Up your game, Grunt.
I hope Banjo's tea isn't as weak as that rhyme.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. I went there. So, Nick, why don't you read this next paragraph where Banjo puts the water on?
I'd be happy to. Oh, yeah, just let me put the water on. Banjo walked into the kitchen, filled his kettle, and put it on the burner. When he walked back into the living room, Grunty was already inside, sitting on his couch, her slender legs curled up next to her.
Ooh.
It's kind of toasty in here. Do you want me to take your cloak? Banjo inquired. He felt that he needed to try and make her feel at home. That was the best way to break the ice.
But he's making her chai. He's not making her iced tea. Why would he have to? Oh, wait. Okay. You see, I would have been... Doesn't really work for me, that line, because I'm thinking about ice. And also, we already know Banjo's good at breaking ice.
Not good at finding ice keys, but good at breaking ice.
Look at the poor Ice Cube family from Banjo-Tooie.
Oh, yeah. Poor is an understatement.
Yeah, so I would have appreciated a George and Mildred reference there. Juilliard Styles, I know you visited DK Vine, but clearly you know nothing about what we really want.
You are nothing, Juilliard!
So anyway, Gruntilda compliments Banjo, saying he's so sweet. Anyway, and at that point, she wastes no time, Gruntilda, and she says she's been so lonely, just like Banjo has. I guess maybe
something must have happened between then and now where they've kind of made up.
I don't know. Because the way I'm reading this, everybody else is gone in their lives. Banjo has nobody. Obviously, we know Klungo already left Gruntilda. Cheeto wants nothing to do with her.
So she shows up having the last time she saw him, like, tried to kill him, and he's just like, well, whatever.
Well,
sort of, you think?
Yeah, he was just happy to talk to somebody. I mean...
That's fair enough.
I mean, if Adolf Hitler showed up at your cabin, 20 years after you gave up on all of humanity, you might be excited to talk to the guy.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, me bunker as soup bunker, right? So...
Yes.
Gruntilda starts to cry and asks Banjo if he can make her less lonely. And Banjo, he knows where this is going. Golly, girlie, are y'all serious? Are y'all serious? That's the way it's typed out. Are y'all serious? All right. And Gruntilda says, "Oh, I never should have even asked. I knew you wouldn't be up to this task." There's actually a typo here. Oh, I never should even asked.
There's been a few so far, actually.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's only $2.99 on the Kindle. You can't afford a great proofreader with that. I'm not holding it against it. Not holding it against Juilliard Styles. All right. So here we go. Page 2, and we're already well into the... I like a little bit more foreplay than this, Nick. I don't know.
I mean, a little bit more than that, even maybe 5 play.
I don't really believe that a skeletal witch human would, who formerly hated this talking, googly-eyed honey bear, would be this ready to engage in carnal relations that cross the special barrier. I don't believe they would be this ready to do it.
It's like someone was watching this as a porn and just, fast forwarded through all the boring stuff.
Right. And I have a problem with that as well, with adult entertainment. I think there should be at least 40 minutes. I don't believe people can just meet on the street and be like, oh, yeah, you want to put our junk together?
I turn it off once that starts happening. I only watch porn for the story.
I need some logic in my adult erotica. What can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say?
Is that too much to ask, Juilliard?
And you know what? I can't fan wank if I'm too busy actually just wanking,
Yeah, they're two separate things.
They're two separate things. It's like walking and chewing gum. You can only do one at the same time.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna read this here. This next paragraph where the action begins. Banjo firmly grasped the zipper of his shorts with his paw, zipping it down and unsheathing his majestic meat saber. Slashing through the thick night air, which they're not outside. They're in his house. So they wouldn't.
Hey, it's night and there's air inside a house. That's all it is.
It's a technicality. You're right, Nick. I was too quick to judge. I'm walking in with my biases, my preconceived notions of what night air is, and I'm wrong.
Who's to say what's normal?
All right. Slashing through the thick night air, his cock connected with Grunty's bony cheek.
Now, cheek on her face.
Banjo's warm members slowly slid up and down her face. Who does this? I'm going to rub it up and down your cheek? That's really bad for hygiene. Like, you need to wash your face immediately afterwards. Like, use some, Oxy pads or something so you don't break out. Good Lord, Banjo. Banjo's warm members slowly slid up and down her face, moved only by the flexing of his Herculean pelvic muscles.
I thought he was, fat.
Well, who's to say he's fat here? He trimmed.
Oh, maybe he over time. Yeah,
he trimmed down at the end during Nuts and Bolts. I mean,
he channeled his frustration and pain of loneliness into weightlifting.
Remember, he fit into that tuxedo at the end of Nuts and Bolts. He was looking dapper by the end of it. And granted, some time has passed here. He's gotten a little gray, but that doesn't mean just because his stash is trash doesn't mean he's let the rest of himself go.
Yeah.
All right. A splash of dick sweat, as well as a look of astonishment, spread across Grunty's face. Oh, Banjo, I knew this was the right choice. Now you must listen to my voice. I am aroused by being struck. Your cock is what I want to suck. All right, so this is happening, Nick. What are your thoughts?
Well, I can't say I didn't see it coming. I have a feeling I'm about to see it coming.
Why don't you read the next paragraph after Grunty
Lord.
professes to want to drink his semen?
Grunty descended upon Banjo's hairy cock like a vulture, Sol or Luxo, feasting upon a phallic animal carcass, engulfing inch by inch of putrid flesh.
Wait, putrid?
Wait. Banjo's cock is putrid?
Does he not wash down there? Like, has he not bathed in years?
Maybe the author just loves the way the term putrid flesh rolls off.
This is a turnoff. I'm sorry. If Banjo's genitalia is...
Or is he a zombie? Is that why he's gray?
Continue. I'm sorry.
Is he a ghoulie?
Okay. I'm sorry.
By inch of putrid flesh, its natural juices filling her gullet. Grunty continued to gorge herself on Banjo's precious, delectable loins. This is what the two of them had been longing for all these years. It wasn't everlasting youth and beauty or golden puzzle pieces. They wanted only to fuck each other's brains out.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. If
no way.
If this was... Okay, so here's how I would have done this up to this point. I would have done a case of wacky mistaken identity. I would have had Gruntilda transfer her consciousness, her soul, into a robot body that's very sexy, very erotic. I would have had Banjo himself be on a covert mission for Mumbo in a different guise itself. And then it
would have been like a Stepford Wives sort of.
I would have had it be a case of mistaken identity where Grunty and Banjo meet in two completely separate bodies, fall for each other in just a rush of carnal passion. And only then, the morning after, do they realize who they've been with the entire night.
But then that fan with the fetish can't imagine visually the two characters he knows and lusts for.
So this is for a fan who has been shipping Banjo and Gruntilda?
I guess so.
I mean, okay, all right. I don't know why I'm drawing the line at this. Like, why that's a bridge too far for my mind to accept. But okay, all right, fine. So,
you got to read this next.
Yeah, I know. This is. I'll read this next sentence. Banjo's body became limp, and he fell backwards onto a pile of Xbox 360s. So
he still didn't clean since Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah, I like that.
Continuity.
There's that product placement there, though. I like that. Even though this is clearly written for fans of the Nintendo 64 era, they're shilling for Microsoft just like we are. I mean, they maybe Juilliard Styles was invited to Rare too.
She's been paid off, obviously.
Obviously, I want to hear Juilliard Styles' opinions on Inept. That's.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? No. I just want Juilliard Styles to write a ukulele erotica.
Now that would be bat shipping.
You now lay me.
You now lay me.
I mean, the title.
Let's get it done.
Just like, maybe I'll write it, man. I mean, if it's that easy, if the words just flow out of your fingertips.
An inept erect.
That's right. Ooh, yeah. So anyway, they fall. He falls backwards into a pile of 360s. Gruntilda still orally servicing him. And
you got to say how it describes.
Yeah, okay. Suckling on the end like a creepy 300-pound skeletal baby eating an oddly phallic lollipop.
Now, how's a lollipop oddly phallic? Aren't most lollipops phallic? So why would that be odd?
Depends on the shape, because there are lollipops made for, say, bachelorette parties where, they are shaped like a penis. Yeah, so in that case, a lollipop wouldn't be oddly phallic. But if it's just like a lolly that was like one of those round ones, the kind you get from like the doctor,
right.
For little kids who went through their checkup. I guess it would be odd if the doctor was handing them a penis and be like, suck on that. Oh, yeah, suck on that.
Probably happened.
I would like to apologize, by the way, for anybody at Rare or Platonic listening to this week's episode. And I apologize for what's happening to your creations.
Hey, you might be giving them ideas.
Just for the record, DK Vine neither endorses nor supports Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody. We're merely reporting the facts.
Nor condemns.
We're not here to do anything. We really shouldn't even be here at all this week.
In fact... Okay, let's go.
All right. So anyway, Banjo is like, he's like, really feeling the pleasure at this point, and then Gruntilda just stops, and why does she stop? And Banjo asked Gruntilda, things were just getting hot and heavy. Why did you quit? And Gruntilda says, Banjo, come on now.
Oh no.
Banjo, you think this is just going to be a case of oral stimulation?
No.
my anal cavity is right here. So yeah, anyway. Now you might be wondering, if she's a skeleton, what exactly is there, in that area? But let me quote this. So, Grunty pulled down the back of her pantaloons to expose her chalky vanilla starfish.
All
right. His curiosity getting the better of himself, he inserted his still moist penis into Grunty's somehow fleshy anus. Hell, what did he care? The only thing on his mind was getting some motherfucking poontang, which I always thought poontang was a reference to the female genitalia, not the, quote, vanilla starfish.
Yeah, it might just be a reference to getting some in general.
Okay, well, you're muddying it there, you're mixing them up, you want.
He's muddying it too.
Oh, my point is, you want clean metaphors, so at least use an enema on your metaphors before you start this.
This metaphor needs an enema.
Okay, and also Grunty's asshole is referred to as moist, which would imply to me that there's some fecal foreplay, because there's no reference to using lubrication of any sort. So that would seem to me she is, I don't know, defecating just a little bit.
Diarrhea makes a fine lubricant.
A little runniness. I apologize.
I can't believe what you're doing.
Nick, read the next paragraph.
All right. The one that starts with in?
Yeah, just read it. Read it word for word. Do not omit a single word.
Oh, good Lord. In and out, and 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 in and out, Banjo's penis went.
Oh my God. Keep reading.
Banjo looked down into Grunty's chapped red well, tossing a massive throbbing quarter into it, only to somehow pull it back up from the well, repeating the same process ad infinitum. It was fucking hot and shit.
What?
Okay, they're just giving up at this point.
Yeah. Clearly, they've lost interest.
Yeah, he's throwing a quarter into her asshole.
Come on, it would be a music note at least.
Yeah.
Maybe one of those doubloons from Jolly Roger. You're not even trying, Juilliard Styles. Allow the true Banjo fans to step in and tell you how to write Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody.
Maybe the massive throbbing quarter is just a metaphor for, but doesn't make any sense.
By the way, I also worry about Juilliard Styles at this point, because that was clear plagiarism of Pete Townsend of The Who.
Which part?
In and out and in and out and in and out. And I mean, that was clearly just cribbing from the song Squeeze Box.
Oh, yes.
From, so.
Well, Banjo's neck deep in her squeeze box right now.
Yeah, so clearly the soundtrack was The Who by the numbers when they were writing this. So Banjo ejaculates at this point. The story's not even halfway done, and we've already had the money shot. Yeah, I mean,
day one of story writing, you don't put the climax in the middle.
No. So he says he howls with joy, and it refers to his sticky cock. Not his sticky cock, but it refers to his ejaculate as sticky cock, unleashing from his cock. And filling the seals, not clapper, by the way, filling the seals of Grunty's now gaping anus. So let me read this one. All right. Grunty screamed and begged for more, but Banjo didn't think he had any more in him, referring to both semen and his will to fuck.
Oh, good clarifier there.
He unsheathed his cock from Grunty's ass, and it flopped downward, smashing one of the Xboxes that they had been fucking upon into bits. Exhausted, he fell backwards and lay on the ground, panting. Now, so they were copulating on a pile of Xboxes, but the sheer act of his limp phallus falling downwards was enough to smash one. Now, I know Xbox 360s weren't the most durable console in the world, but that's taking Red Ringing to a whole new level.
Yeah.
So Banjo, and this does not sound like Banjo, he says, "That was fucking sweet. We should do it again sometime." He would be a little bit more demure than that.
Yeah.
You'd be like...
But maybe in his old age, he's just given up.
People don't change that much. It's like people waiting for Donald Trump to pivot to the general election. People don't change.
Maybe he's just trying to impress her with his curse words.
Yeah, maybe. I went in Rome and all that. I don't know. But he was, I would think he'd be like, "Oh, I'm so bashful. I can't believe I just did that. Ugh.
Yeah, for sure.
I better go read my Bible." But Gruntilda...
Then throw it in the trash can.
Lose some Facebook followers.
Yeah.
As if we're not going to lose some followers with this. Throw Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody, into the trash can.
Yeah.
Only you're losing your entire Kindle at that point.
Yeah.
So, at this point, Gruntilda's like, "What are you talking about, Banjo? We've just gotten started." That insatiable minx. She at this point, so she says basically, "Did you honestly think that it was just the bear that was packing that sort of hardware?" And are you thinking she's talking about a power drill, maybe a table saw? No, not literally hardware. Gruntilda, well, why don't you read the quote at the bottom of this page when Gruntilda says, "Prepare.
Prepare what I have in store. Your jaw is about to hit the floor. It's time for me to reveal my trick. Prepare to face the power of my dick."
So Gruntilda has a penis.
Well, you say that like that's a revelation.
Not only a penis, but she has an 11-inch.
Wasn't that one of Brentilda's little secrets she told you in Banjo-Kazooie?
I can see that. Like, I could see that being misinformation spread by Brentilda.
Psst, Grunty has a dick.
It's huge, yeah. Especially back in 1998 when we were more prone to trans shame.
Yeah.
I mean, we've come a long way since then, baby. Like Virginia Slim cigarettes. We've come a long way. Yeah. But, yeah, apparently Gruntilda is transgendered. She still self-identifies as a woman, though. So, that, I mean... I don't even know. Like this is crossing off so many boxes in the fetish list at this point.
Wouldn't let her in my bathroom.
That should
be near my logo.
Maybe that's the prequel. Gruntilda tries to use the Target restroom, and somebody with an open carry license decides to stand their ground. So they go into Banjo's bathroom up on the sink, and there's like half a page of this, them trying to get to the bathroom, I think. But I don't know. Let me read this one at the bottom of the page. So Banjo's basically engaging with her penis, and okay. Banjo obliged and started playing with her testes, but like not in a gay way or nothing, because Grunty was a witch, therefore a lady. So we're just clarifying right here that Gruntilda identifies as a woman, so therefore it's Banjo, being the southern gentleman he is, who may get all nervous when gay accusations are flung his way. He's okay with this.
Yes.
So
Banjo, friend to Jolly Roger.
There we go. There we go. Banjo's mouth reached the end of its epic journey to the end of the River Styx. I appreciate the wordplay there. I don't know if it
mythology in there.
Yeah, I don't know if it really works. I don't know if now this is where Banjo should have thrown a coin in.
Yes.
That would have been more appropriate to the mythology.
Maybe he saw Greg down there rowing a boat.
Where it was greeted with a face full of pubes that tickled his nose. Gruntilda does not take care of the hygiene, apparently. She didn't get the full Brazilian wax before coming to Banjo's house. The tide that was Grunty's dick was beginning to recede. Oh, my God. I thought for a second there, I was referencing a tide. I thought Grunty was going to get her period or something, as Banjo was down in her nether regions. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, they get to the sink, and there's only so many ways we can gloss over what's happening without reading it aloud, without reading it word for word. So
we'll just act it out with sound effects, starting. Just kidding.
Actually, you could probably just play the clips of Banjo characters talking, and it would suffice.
Yes.
Grunty's fucking Banjo's asshole at this point. No other way to get around it. That's what's happening.
No, gotta face the fact.
Now, granted, as much as I love DK King of Swing, I wasn't really ready for a banjo pegger. But here we are. Here we are. The pay-on spy. Maybe Juilliard Styles is the pay-on spy that we was sure was lurking in the DK Vine forum, putting all the fan service in those games.
Yeah.
Anyway. Nick, why don't you read on this next page where it says Banjo's asshole. Read that paragraph.
Okay, let me find Banjo's asshole first.
Not that hard to find.
Yeah, there it is. Banjo's asshole was ripped asunder, causing irreparable damage and inevitably months and months of painful hemorrhoid poops. Okay, Juilliard Styles.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
It's getting a little childish now.
Here. Everything up till now was perfectly mature. This intense pleasure was worth every bloody shit, and every day he would be unable to ride a bike without popping a nasty blood pustule, Banjo thought. This person put a lot of thought into some fucked up stuff.
All right, and I don't really like that it ended with Banjo thought. There was nothing to indicate those were Banjo's thoughts up until that point.
Yeah.
You needed some quotation marks there so we could actually hear Banjo's thoughts. A little sloppy sentence structure. Since when does Banjo ride a bike? I mean, I guess you could build bike-like structures in nuts and bolts, right?
Yeah, build anything.
But I don't think it would really hurt him. Okay, whatever.
Look at the last sentence of the next paragraph. That might please a certain listener.
All right, here we go. I'll read that, because I am all about pleasing the listeners, obviously. Grunties smacked... Okay, grammatical error. I'll just clean that up. Yeah. You know, Juilliard Styles, I do proofreading on the side for some extra money. So give me a call. I would be glad to look at your next work, clean it up, for only, let's say, 5% of your profits. I think that's
Not
entirely reasonable. I don't even think I think it would just be a handshake deal. We don't have to draft up any painful legal documents. I don't need my name attached to anything, that's for sure. Grunty smacked Banjo's ass, and he bucked like a horse, taking every inch up his butt as they fucked. Banjo arched his head around, stared deeply into Grunty's eyes, and proceeded to quack like a duck for some reason unbeknownst to him.
Mamechi, get the lube.
Maybe Mamechi is Juilliard Styles. No, there would be a lot more. This would be Dr. Quack erotica.
Yeah,
that fucking character. All right, so good lord, this continues.
I like how later on though he says, "Gosh, Grunty, that's pretty kinky," as if everything before this was in no way kinky.
Yeah. Well, that he's in fact referring to Gruntilda urinating all over Banjo's anus.
How's that kinky?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Banjo likes collecting golden trinkets, jiggies, musical notes. Why not showers?
Why not?
Why not? Platonic, if you're listening to this, take some notes. I think it would be a nice character trait for Yuka to enjoy being pissed on.
Yeah. I'll have it be Microsoft logo pissing on it. I mean, I'm just kidding.
We're just joshing around. We're kidding. All right. So, they actually make an allusion towards the eventual sequel. So, gosh, Grony, that's pretty kinky. Banjo liked kinky. If only there was something sexual that she could do involving eggs. Oh, but don't worry. That's for Banjo-Poonzooie. Title pending.
So they got rid of anything sexual in the title.
Yeah, that doesn't really work. Okay, I suggested that this could have been called Banjo-Gooie, or
Handjob Kazooie,
or fucking cumwad ooey.
Good lord.
But Banjo-Toonzooie just sounds like it's going to be a chaste animated feature. Okay, I'll read this next paragraph. I'll take the hit on this one.
This is a good sentence right here.
Like some sort of anally penetrating ninja, Grunty swiftly infiltrated the nearly conflagrated citadel that was once Banjo's poop chute. I like the mix of incredibly verbose analogies, and just childish vernacular.
Yeah,
you got
it's DK Vine all over it.
The nearly conflagrated citadel right next to poop chute. There's a certain poetry at work here, and I can't honestly say if it works, but it's daring and it's bold and it's something new for the literary world. And exactly. I, for one, welcome this fresh voice. She continued her dauntless onslaught, conquering the kingdom of Banjo's banghole, razing dozens of villages and ravishing the untainted virgins that resided within them. The cock became the ruler of the kingdom, installing a puppet government and beginning a parasitic economic relationship with it, stealing large sums of gold from its treasuries to fund its inevitable future conquest.
That is taking a premise and running with it.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not even aroused anymore. I don't even know what's happening. I want to hear more about the macroeconomics of this village.
I mean, they made intercourse into political intrigue.
This is becoming more of a Paul Krugman editorial piece in the New York Times.
Yeah.
Which, for all I know, this Paul Krugman is Juilliard Styles. Wouldn't that be a twist? All right. So, at this point, the story gets weird. Because Gruntilda cast
Now it gets weird.
Gruntilda cast a spell on her penis. This is how she ratchets it up a notch. Literally. She enlarges it with witchcraft to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. But then the spell gets out of control. One should not dabble in the black arts if one is not prepared for the consequences.
Once you go black, you don't go black.
And this is I don't think Banjo's going to be coming back from this, because it gets so big that it literally stretches Banjo's asshole, his sphincter, to the point where it becomes a black hole. It's actually stretched to the point where the gravity well becomes so powerful that everything becomes engulfed by, and I quote, the singularity caused by Grunty's supermassive wang. Nick, read the next paragraph and further illustrate the situation our characters have found themselves in.
I feel like this person might be a science major.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. The event horizon of the black hole stretched out wider than Banjo's cavernous asshole, engulfing all matter around it. More and more massive singularity grew. Banjo and Grunty shrieked, though this time not in pleasure, as they were pulled apart, their matter broken into subatomic particles that were sucked into the ebony void.
So at this point, the DK Vine influence starts becoming clear.
Yes.
It's starting to...
Sci-fi elements.
Sci-fi elements of apocalyptic scale.
Yes.
So I do appreciate that. I have to say, I wasn't expecting Banjo's anus to become a black hole that engulfed all matter.
It had a crusty, crude start, but it's getting kind of genius.
It's getting kind of clever. I've never seen an erotic parody. Granted, I'm not really one who dabbles in this genre too much. No, of course not. But I've never seen
only on podcasts
this take on it. And quite frankly, now I feel like my entry into the genre has been blocked. Should I ever want to pen some of these, I feel like the best ending has already been taken. But this is not the ending, not quite yet. We then the scene ends for the first time, and we change location to Mumbo Jumbo and his skull. So apparently Banjo was lonely, but Mumbo is still around. So I don't know.
Maybe they had a falling out or something.
Maybe, and this is the story that has to be explained in the Banjo-Poonzooie prequel. I'm just saying it right now. We need it can even be a midquel, Banjo-Poonzooie, Grunty's Revenge, or some other. Yeah, you can come up with a better pun than that.
Yeah. I mean, there is a word that rhymes with grunt, but I won't go there.
Runt? Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Hunt, because you would cast Helen Hunt as Gruntilda. Exactly.
She likes to get naked.
She was in that movie where she banged that dude who couldn't move.
Yeah.
Remember the
Sessions?
Yeah, the Sessions. Which I don't know. That was just creepy. Like, isn't that just like taking advantage? That's like just being Bill Cosby, essentially.
I think he wanted it.
I guess. I mean, I guess he was conscious. That's one up on Bill Cosby.
But I mean, he wasn't. He expressed desire for it, I believe.
Yeah, I know. It just, if you're Helen Hunt, like, you'd think, you have that Mad About You money.
True.
As good as it gets, cash.
You got that big sack of Twister dough.
Yeah. You would think you could, get any guy you wanted. You wouldn't have to, whatever. She has a good heart. She has a good heart, apparently, in that movie.
Yeah.
Doing favors for the less fortunate. So,
like we are by sharing this story.
There you go. We're this is our own The Sessions, where we're helping out every invalid on DK Vine get a little piece of erotic excitement in their life.
If Helen Hunt isn't in the thumbnail for this episode, I'll be disappointed.
I don't want to be sued, Nick. I don't want to be sued. So Mumbo's having a happy day, man. The sun is out, birds are chirping. He's like skipping out of his skull. He's like looking at the flowers. Literally, he says, "Hello, flower. How are you? How you do?" Let me try that again. "Hello, flower. How you do?" Mumbo skipped happily down the sidewalk, just happy to be alive. Mumbo do fantastic. Thank for this beautiful day. Tree wrestling, dog barking, bird tweeting. But the birds weren't tweeting today, Mumbo noted. Why, the trees weren't rustling and the dogs weren't barking either. It was eerily quiet.
A lot of dogs around.
Yeah, there I see it. Maybe this is maybe it's the dog from Project Dream.
It's a lot of dogs.
Then Mumbo noticed something. No, nothing. Pure, undaunting nothing. This was bad. So Mumbo looks up, and he basically sees the black hole has now grown outside of Banjo's house, and it's threatening to consume not only has it consumed all of Spiral Mountain, but it's going to consume the entire Isle o' Hags.
It's become like a disaster movie.
It has, yeah. This is what people were worried about with the Super Collider.
It's like Grunty's Peak.
Why are we referencing 90s disaster movies all of a sudden?
Because, I don't know.
All right, well, we got to get in Volcano and Deep Impact and...
we already referenced Event Horizon.
Armageddon, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I mean, this black hole, it's going to consume everything. And so Mumbo feels like he has to perform a spell, a magic spell, to balance it out, to make the black hole shrink down to nothing.
I could see this as a cutscene.
What's that?
I could see this as a cutscene from Banjo-Tooie, like the beginning cutscene.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I thought you were going to say this should have been a cutscene in Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody. And I was like,
why didn't they?
This is vital for the plot, Nick. You can't cut this.
No.
All right. Unfortunately, Mumbo's spell doesn't work. And it's the end of everything.
Oh. Wait. There's some...
Well...
Humba move... Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
How could this be happening? Could anyone else possibly save them? Would Mumbo ever feel Humba's touch again?
Huh.
Humba move in with Mumbo next week. Mumbo was going to pop question. Humba and Mumbo get married.
So now the narrator's just flat out talking like Mumbo.
Consciousness slowly faded. Mumbo once was. Now he was not.
Huh.
And not is
was he very not or mildly not?
Naught. Yes, maybe that was an oblique reference to famous Banjo-Kazooie character Mildly Naughty.
Yeah.
All right, so Mumbo's...
Now this next part reads like a DK Vine Cobcock Day.
Yeah, why don't you read this paragraph, Nick? Because this is, I guess, inside the black hole now.
Yeah. All is cock. Everyone, everything that exists, did exist, and will exist is joined as one. Don't be sad. Rejoice. Everyone is here. This isn't a void. This isn't nothingness. This is everything. Things are better now. Before, some things were not cock. Yes, there were some beautiful, strong, and immaculate. The cock was revered by many. All enjoyed it, though not everyone could experience its glory and bathe in its light. That has changed. Now all is the cock, and cock is the all. Cock is love. Cock is life. Cock is everything.
Was that a reference to Chris Alcock?
Oh, it might be. Cock is all.
Cock is all. All is cock.
Wow.
Cock is love. Cock is life.
Didn't you guys say that at one time, or was that different?
You had some DK Vine Hall of Fame. Yeah, DK Vine Hall of Fame, class of 2013.
Yeah. Wow, maybe they are aware.
I would hope they voted in the Hall of Fame this year.
They better have. Vote or die.
Yeah. So, all right. The story is almost over. Thank fucking God. All right.
So it ends like Banjo-Kazooie on a beach.
An empty, endless beach. Red waters.
The Rapture?
Red waters lapping at its shores. Banjo was finally awake, his eyes opening for the first time in a while. How long had it been? Days? Weeks? Eons? He lay back, sprawled across the sand, staring straight ahead for what must have been hours. Then he turned his head, and she was there.
Oh.
It has been too long, old friend, Banjo stated. He was unsure if this was a dream or reality, though he knew which one he wished it to be. Banjo reached out his paw, the familiar feeling of feathers tickling at his palm. He was home.
That's beautiful.
So it ends just like Lost, apparently, where I guess this is the Flash Sideways universe.
Or like Kazooie had died before, so maybe Banjo died and he's just in the afterlife.
That's what I'm saying. The Flash Sideways universe.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Lost spoiler. Sorry, Nick.
I've seen most of Lost. I didn't finish it.
Oh, well, I just spoiled the ending for you. It ends just like Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody.
Oh, man. Yeah, now that I've seen this ending first, when I finally finish Lost, I'll be like, that's just like Banjo-Poonzooie. That'll be my point of reference.
Yeah, especially, and, of course, there's also the scene where Kate did Jack with her massive 11-inch penis.
Well, yeah, that was like scene 2 of season 1.
Yeah, Lost started really weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
So, has a nice ending. I appreciated that Banjo and Kazooie were reunited.
Yeah.
And it's up for interpretation, too. Is it the afterlife? Is it inside the singularity? Is this another subatomic universe?
Some Christopher Nolan shit.
Yeah, exactly. Matthew McConaughey could be here, and this would, people would be arguing about the ending for years.
Yeah.
Nick, what did you think about Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody?
Well, title could be better. Had some typos. Not sort of amateur feeling that the cover is a fever dream.
It can't be an amateur feeling, Nick. This is a professional book. One can purchase on Amazon.com.
I'm just saying the typos give across the feeling of that you're reading an amateur work, even though it's not.
I think it's intentional. I think what this does, it takes literature and it pushes it boldly into the 21st century.
Turns it on its head.
In an era where anybody can take domain over fiction and make it their own. This is saying this could have been written by any one of us, no matter.
This is some real Dada futurist postmodern shit.
Yeah, no matter what the writing talent or skill, any one of us could have penned Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody. And I think it really ties in with the last page where it says, all is the cock and cock is the all. It's basically saying we're all part of the singularity of penis.
It's saying Chris Alcock could have written.
Chris Alcock might have written this.
I know. To finish my review, it rocky start with those things I mentioned, but it soon developed into something I myself would have been proud to have written. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I admit I didn't care much for the sex scenes. I thought they were kind of flat.
Shock value.
It was purely there for the shock value. And granted, we're Americans. We're a bit more prudish when it comes to sex than most parts of the world. We like violence in America. We're big Second Amendment advocates. We like seeing things get gunned down, and that's fine. But I'm pretty liberated, I think, when it comes to sexuality. I would hope so. And I just didn't really feel. I didn't really buy what was happening between Banjo and Gruntilda. I feel like they were the wrong protagonist.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have gone with. I think the more simmering central tension was between Mamba and Humba, and
yes.
That was alluded to near the end. I wanted to see that love story played out.
Exactly.
But
to see Mumbo go in that teepee.
Oh. But, in the end, I have to agree, it did turn into, I think, a sublime work of art. This is something that would be right at home on DK Vine.
Yeah, this is a milestone.
A penis creating a black hole that devours the universe.
All his cock? That's amazing.
I mean, this could have been Cosmos Part 2, aired on the Fox network. I mean, I learned some science. I learned something about spirituality. I learned something about love, Nick. I have to admit, I learned that love can be between a honey bear and a skeletal witch she-beast. And, I was very short-sighted before I read Banjo-Poonzooie, an erotica parody. But this has really opened the blinders to my eyes. I see the world differently now, and I think I'm a better person for it. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I'm going to go take a shower now. Oh, God.
Yeah. Do you have any Purell?
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.